So my name is Merce, I'm a classical guitar player, and let me please help you with your problems with bar chords. Bar chords are definitely a challenge for every guitar player. Whilst there are many tips that can make the struggle a little easier, many times it's not enough for many of you out there to really get control and get to play bar chords comfortably. Therefore, in this video, I will show you a progressive way that you can get to play these chords cleanly and effortlessly. It will not only help you building the strength over time to avoid injuries, but also train the fine movements of the left hand to pass from using an enormous amount of pressure and stress on your hand while still getting a half muted chord to a much more comfortable, quick and well-sounding bar chords. So opposite to many tutorials that you have probably seen out there, I'm definitely not going to start off by asking you to put the full barre. We will take it one step at a time. Not only doing this can cramp up your hand pretty badly, but it will also set you in the perfect track to develop a very stiff left hand with rather poor control. On the other hand, you will learn a much more precise approach where we will divide the barre in three types. The first one is the lightest form of barre, where it engages only the first phalanx of the finger. The medium barre is where we engage from the top of the finger until the medium phalanx. The full barre is the one that we all know, where the first finger is fully extended and tensed, right from the base of the proximal phalanx. I use the official terms just so like this you know exactly where the bending is happening at all times. By the way, I put together a PDF where you will find the exercise that we will discuss today in written form, in music and tabs, so please go ahead and download it so you can use it during your practice sessions. And if you find it useful, please let me know in the comment box and leave a like or share. That will be helping me much more than you think. So the first step we will begin is with the smallest type of barre, which is a barre of 2 strings. I will do the exercise on the 5th fret because here there is a lot more tension, so I recommend you also to start here. Higher if you feel more comfortable. If you play electric guitar, that's also fine. Just not in the first positions to start with. So here we put the finger. You can first rest it here. Then when you press, you can see that the pressure comes from the first, let's say the distal phalanx here, this little part of the finger. And then you can bend in here. So definitely don't aim for something like this. Just the tip of the finger here, put it relaxed and then make pressure. Now, important that you notice also the way you place the finger. I always try to aim a little bit for the outside because the outside part of the finger, being that is closer to the bone, and that will be even more important for bigger barres, it's a lot easier to get the sound when you try to tackle it from a little bit from this external side rather than flat to the strings. So be careful, don't do this, just try to have a little bit on the side. This is good because this small barre, it is really not so heavy, so you don't need to do like the big barres, this type of thing that happens very often. So you will also get used to not support the barre with the other fingers because we will need them to be free. So with the other fingers, just do nothing, stay around here. Definitely never go underneath the fretboard, just stay somewhere here. You will realize though that to make this barre, the thumb is not in the middle of the neck, it's a little bit lower. So we go from here, normal position, to here. So we get this type of clamp. Now the exercise will be using all the time the other finger so that you gain this dexterity and you get to build up the proper movement. So the first exercise we have second finger on the first and then barre. And you put the barre on and off. We have open string, second, barre, second finger. Now we will do exactly the same with the third finger. So first with open strings, and we place the barre. Open strings, and then we place it down. It's very important that you develop an accurate movement to land and go away. Same thing for the fourth finger. I would do every exercise 4 times, so if you try to aim for perfect repeats, with all the variations that we're going to be adding, that's going to be a good barre workout. You will see in the PDF there are variations to move this exercise just on a higher set of strings. Now, once you're done practicing all the variations on the PDF of the 2 strings barré, you can upgrade to the 3 strings barré. For 3 strings, you can probably still approach it with the distal phalanx, so only with the tip of the finger. If you have small hands, I have rather small hands and I can manage 3 strings. If you don't, just double check that it's really not your positioning, and if you still don't manage it, that means that you just have to wait 1 second that we get to the next step for the 4th strings barré. So here it works exactly the same. We bend the finger from the distal phalanx here so that we can leave the other fingers free, and then we just make an arpeggio the same way we did before, but now on 3 strings. And this exercise can also easily be transported to lower strings for further practice. Now the 4th strings barré, here we have a little change because until now we were pressing with the last beat of our finger. Now we are also going to be engaging the middle phalanx. So instead of having this situation here, we will need 4 strings and we will lean all this part of the finger. Now important for you to notice is that here my finger is bent, so I'm not doing that. If you're doing this, try to bring the palm of your hand close to the fretboard here, so it will force you to bend here in this joint. Now for the exercise here, we will play on the 2nd string so that we get to hear the 1st string. Very important when we play chords that the 1st string, it sounds clean. So it goes like this. If you want to play it slower, go ahead and play it a bit slower, but you always have to aim to hear every note clean. Notice also how I'm not straightening my 1st finger. It's not this. I'm not putting my finger fully straight, but I'm having it all the time bent. So pay a lot of attention to that. For the right hand fingerings, you can use thumb for the bass strings and then index, middle, A finger for the other ones. But if you have any doubt, just check the PDF, there is everything written. Now when we have to cover 5 strings, usually we already need to straighten the whole barré. If you have very big hands, you might still get away with the barré that we just used for the 4th string with this little bend. If you have this, congratulations, just use this because it's going to be a little bit easier, but you do have to have quite long fingers to be able to bend here. As you see, I cannot quite bend because my finger, it's not long enough. But if you can bend here like this, when I'm with the 4th string, go ahead. But here for 5 strings, I need to put it straight, otherwise my 1st strings will not sound. For 5 strings, you really need to keep your finger really tight, and you need to make sure that there is nothing, curved here or anything that goes in, because that's going to be the spot where the strings are not going to sound. So you really have to aim to push from here so your finger is fully straight. Remember what we said in the beginning, you need to have it a little bit on the side of the finger, not right here. So always aim for a little bit sideways. That doesn't imply that you have to do this. That's why we are engaging the other fingers, to help you not develop this type of habit that many of us get in the beginning. So let's go ahead with the exercise. We stay on the 2nd string and we go thumb, thumb, index, middle, ring. Barré. Now, some of you might get this at some point of the exercise. That can easily happen. This can be because you're either not forcing enough your finger outwards like this, or because you're actually getting the string right on this line of the finger. If that's the case, try to find a little spot, let's say just 1 millimeter up or down, that might help you to have this adjustment. That is why the exercise is all the time lifting on and off the barre, because you have to find your sweet spot and then do multiple repetitions until your muscle memory engraves this, and then you know that to have a clean 5 strings barre, you need this sort of position. So very important, good repeats here to have always positive practice. Now we go to the last one, to the 6 string barre. We will continue doing the same on the 2nd string in here. Remember anyways that the thumb has to be more or less about the 2nd finger behind the fretboard, so not only against the 1st, because then you leave completely out of balance the rest of the hand. So try to support a little bit more the other fingers and have it a little bit more in the middle. Let's go ahead with the exercise. We have 3 times thumb and then index, middle, a finger for the trebles. For not making this tutorial eternal, there will be also in the PDF a second exercise where the putting on and off the barre is taken away once you have, let's say, good command and control of the movement of setting the barre. Then the exercise is going to focus more on leaving the barre on for a longer period of time as you do the other combinations. This will start to reinforce a little bit more heavily the muscle here on the thumb, and hopefully you will have developed a good movement and a good control of the overall positioning of the hand with the previous exercise, so then you can go ahead and start training a little bit more rough strength for the hand. Remember though that to play bar chords is not so much about the brutal force that you can apply on the fretboard, but more about the control that you have on the positioning and the movement of the fingers. If you're one of the players who put so much strength into the barre chords and they still don't sound, then rewatch the tutorial very slowly. Try to copy the movements that I do. Really try to imitate the things that I am showing in the video so that you can eventually get the fine movements and find exactly the positioning that you need, because it's more about being smart on how you move on the guitar rather than just power. So that's all for today. I hope you find the tutorial useful. I really hope that this progressive barre exercise will help many of you struggling out there, because I know that that is a hard technique to get down. If you have any doubt or question, please feel free to write me here in the comment box. I always try to answer all the comments. And if you can, drop a like and subscribe if you want to have more of this content in the future. And thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Practice well!